All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about the mainstream liberal media flipping out over a good guy with a gun saving lives, stopping a mass shooting, which is what happened out in Indiana at the Greenwood Mall near Indianapolis. Now, I've done stories before in which I've talked about how CNN and some of the blue check liberals are so pissed off about this that they actually have a problem calling the guy a hero, okay, or a good Samaritan. They're saying that no, you shouldn't call him that because he killed somebody, okay? Which really, they're saying that because they're flipping out about the fact that we have a example of a good guy with a gun stopping a mass shooting, something that the left and the Democrat Party has said is impossible, right? It's impossible, okay? However, they're upset about this because the good guy with a gun narrative proves that guns can be used to stop mass shootings, and that having people around that are armed and trained and law-abiding citizens can actually save lives, okay? For whatever reason, these people believe that only the police should have guns, right? And that they're the only people that can save lives. When we see in situations like the Uvalde school shooting, how police were utterly inept when it came to taking out one young teenager who committed a mass shooting, okay, who was actively killing kids, right? So with that being said, I want to talk about the View's reaction to what happened in Indiana, in which, again, you had a good Samaritan stop a mass shooting as a lunatic, a maniac, started open firing in a mall food court. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play this video, because again, this reaction, it really is a shame that we live in a society where people are trying to shame a guy for saving lives. Take a look.
They say that a good guy with a gun can control a bad guy with a gun. Well, we saw in Uvalde that that's not true.
And you saw it in Buffalo.
Yes, we saw it in Buffalo.
But we saw that it is true in Indiana.
It was true in Indiana. That was a lucky moment. And you know what? I feel like this. If you're a good guy with a gun, you should not object to background checks or licensing or, a limitation on military-style weapons that kill thousands at once or hundreds at once. So why can't they just pull that off?
But with this Good Samaritan thing, listen, I was trained when I was at the Justice Department in firearms, and I was trained in defensive firearm training. It is very hard to hit a moving target. It is hard for people that are trained to hit a moving target. It is very lucky that Good Samaritan hit that moving target in that way. And he had a gun permit, but he wasn't supposed to be in the mall with a gun. So he broke the law, even though he was a Good Samaritan.
The law of Indiana is different than the law of the mall, of Simon Malls, and I would say that takes precedence when you save a life.
Well, he saved a life, but
guys, I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we gotta go. We'll be right back.
Guys, isn't it a shame? Isn't it a shame that we live in a society where one side of the political aisle is so concerned about their narrative? They're so anti-gun, they're so anti-Second Amendment, that instead of praising a young 22-year-old man who stopped a mass shooting that saved lives, instead of praising him, the conversation is about, well, he broke the law, right? And he was lucky. He was lucky. Right? Hitting a moving target is difficult. So let's not actually praise this individual, okay, for saving lives. Instead, let's just smear him because he broke the law, which is actually false, right? That's actually a false statement, okay? It should be characterized as misinformation, okay? Which the mainstream liberal media, they claim they don't ever push misinformation and lies. However, that's all they push, because Indiana is a state with constitutional carry and stand your ground laws, right? And that protects Dickens' actions because he acted to save people targeted by a shooter. On top of that, just because the mall has a policy that says no guns allowed, that doesn't mean that he actually broke the law. It's like the mall having a policy of no shirt, no shoes, no service, in the sense that it's only an issue if the mall asks you to leave the property, right? So the mall can legally ask Mr. Dickens to leave the property if they see that he has a gun and they say, hey, look, guns not allowed. They can say, yeah, leave. And if he refuses to leave, then at that point, he's breaking the law, right? But just because he entered the mall with a gun, that in of itself is not breaking the law, Okay, even though the mall has a no gun policy, the law is only broken when they ask him to leave and he refuses not to. At that point, that is trespassing. Again, it's the same thing with no shirt, no shoes, no service. It is not illegal to enter a mall with no shirt, no shoes, right? But if the mall asks you to leave because of that policy and you refuse not to leave, at that point, you are trespassing, right? Because you're breaking the rules. At that point, you're then breaking the law, right? So he didn't break a law at all, okay? But again, it's a shame that instead of praising this individual for saving lives, instead these hosts decide they want to smear him because they're salty that a good guy with a gun saved lives. They're salty that that actually worked out, okay? Because it supports the Second Amendment. It supports the right to self-defense. It supports the idea that, hey, maybe having an armed society could be a way to prevent and stop mass shootings. Maybe it might be more effective than police. Again, as we saw with Uvalde, right? In the sense that police couldn't stop that mass shooting because essentially they were scared, right? That's what it seems like. But we have plenty of stories out there that support the idea that a good guy with a gun can not only defend themselves, but yeah, they can defend others as well and stop mass shootings. For example, the story that I covered not too long ago about the woman out in Charleston, West Virginia, that stopped a lunatic from open firing into a party, okay, from a vehicle. I mean, the guy started firing. She quickly took him out with a handgun as well, okay, that she was legally allowed to carry. So we have plenty of examples of good guys with guns that stop mass shootings or that protect themselves and protect others. I mean, in fact, there are between 500,000 to 3 million defensive uses of firearms per year, but for whatever reason, the mainstream liberal media doesn't want to talk about that, right? Just like, again, they don't want to talk about any time a good Samaritan or a hero saves people with a firearm from a mass shooting. They don't want to talk about it because it doesn't fit the narrative. But see, what really blows my mind about these people, right, these elitists in our society, whether it comes to these so-called talking heads and journalists in the mainstream liberal media or the Democrat politicians who claim they don't believe in good guys with guns or that good guys with guns are just lucky, right? They're just lucky. They surround themselves with good guys with guns every single day. I guarantee you that building, that studio that The View is in is surrounded by good guys with guns. I guarantee you that those hosts, Whoopi, Sonny, Joy Behar, all of them, have good guys with guns around them, even though they live in a state in which it's hard for a good guy to actually obtain a gun, okay? But I guarantee you, they have good guys with guns all around them all the time, right? It reminds me of Sarah Haynes. One time, she was talking about how she was comfortable with her boyfriend, a dude that she was dating, having a gun because he was trained, right? He was trained, and I was comfortable with him having a gun, but she wasn't comfortable with other people, normal folks, people who aren't dating elitists having guns.
Said I dated a detective that carried everywhere we went, but he was highly trained with that weapon, and I felt better knowing people like him had them. This is scary because...
AKA, I felt better knowing that my guy, my man, could defend me and him. I felt better about that, but I don't like when other people have the right to do that because, hey, they might not be trained as much as my guy, right? Again, you see how these elitists think. They're telling you exactly what they think. They're saying, we don't trust people who are not the elite, okay? We love the criminals, right? We're not going to do anything about them having guns, okay? We've utterly failed on that. And we don't trust average, everyday American citizens to be able to defend themselves against criminals. We don't trust them, right? The only people we trust are us. We're the only people that should be able to defend ourselves from criminals. Guys, the elitism here is just, it's astonishing. It really is. And nobody should be surprised.
In addition to a lot of guns, people will say, well, now I'm able to protect myself and a good guy with a gun and all the different sayings. The problem here is so many people...
Good guys with guns, right? She feels safe with her good guy with a gun. You're not allowed to be a good guy with a gun.
Get hit by these guns. When you read the news headlines every day of children crossing the street, people that were doing nothing because everyone decided to be a good guy with a gun and shoot. And in a populous place like New York City with so many people, already so many illegal guns, now giving people a pass to take that upon themselves, it's a really scary prospect to walk out in the streets with that.
Yeah, so there you have it, right? Only elitists, okay, and their protection should have guns, okay? Nobody else. And any other good guy with a gun, okay, like this 22-year-old hero, good Samaritan that stopped a mass shooting, if they have a gun and they actually stop a mass shooting, they were lucky. They were lucky, okay? And we're going to smear them for breaking the law and being lucky more so than we're going to praise them for taking out lunatics that are trying to kill people. We're not going to praise them for saving lives. We're going to focus on the fact that we believe they broke the law. Again, it's a false belief that they broke the law. And the fact that, hey, good guys with guns don't really work. This was just a one-off. This is just, dude being lucky. Let's not look too much into it, because if we do, then that will go against our narrative in which, hey, we believe that we should take guns away from everybody except the people that are protecting us, right? Again, it really blows my mind how some of these people think, and that we live in a society where you would rather smear somebody for saving lives than to praise them for saving lives, which is something, in my opinion, that I really believe could prevent mass shootings in the future. If we started putting up statues and honoring those people who are saving lives, stopping mass shootings, being good guys with guns, we start honoring those people the same way we honor criminals, maybe, just maybe, we would have less mass shootings, because people would know and understand that if you try to commit a mass shooting in public, you're going to get clapped, right? You're going to get smoked on the spot by a good guy with a gun. We're not going to wait for the police to get there to clap you, or for you to be able to surrender or run away or get away alive. No, you're going to die, right? You're going to die on the spot, okay? So if you got a death wish, try it. But just understand, you have a bunch of good guys with guns there that are going to stop you, right? It may be, if that's the message that we were sending, less people would try this stuff. But again, we're not sending that message. What we're doing is that we're praising criminals and saying that, look, we're going to try to take away guns from everybody else, and we're not going to praise people who actually, stop you guys from committing mass shootings, okay? It really blows my mind, the society that we have sometimes. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.